everybody, and welcome to the CX Live interviews. We are delighted to have with us today Rashid Khan, the co-founder and chief product officer at Yellow.ai. Welcome, Rashid.
Hi, it's great to be on the show, Ayusha. Looking forward to our
Likewise,
conversation
Rashid.
today.
Yep, it's a pleasure to have you. Now, clearly, Yellow AI is dominating the conversational AI segment at this point in time. How would you like to say that Yellow AI's dynamic AI agents are enabling enterprises to differentiate and create new value for their customers?
Yeah, so we've been in business for the last 7 years or so, and we've extensively focused a lot on providing these dynamic agents to large enterprises across the globe. And there are certain values which we have identified, which we help provide to our customers. The first one essentially is we're helping them drive omni-channel strategy. Today, we believe we as consumers are across multiple channels. We're active across on WhatsApp. We're active on Instagram, Twitter, for different types of use cases. And as a brand, when you think you want to reach out to your consumers, today it has to be omni-channel, right? People are talking about your brands. People are engaging with them on different platforms. So that's the first value which we help enterprises drive. The second one essentially is, most of us all have our horror stories of being on call for at least 15-20 minutes, trying to get an answer for a product or a query resolved. We see that as a big impediment today, providing a great customer experience. So the second value which we help provide to our customers is largely on the swift and efficient query resolution through a lot of back-end automation. So while the conversations are front-end to understanding what users are saying, we essentially help drive a lot of back-end automations for the customer. And the third biggest value which you provide today is the 24/7, 365 days availability, right? So you could be interacting with our dynamic agents. It would be 2 a.m. in the morning. It could be 6 p.m. in the evening. It really doesn't matter. All these agents are active throughout day and night. So I think that's a third big value which you provide through our dynamic agents today.
Definitely. And you touched upon two very important points there, Rashid. One of them is obviously the dynamic environment that organizations are operating in today's date, which obviously customers expect them to be able to service them 24/7. And this is where technologies like dynamic AI agents and conversational AI are obviously stepping up. Now, why do you see that brands are gravitating more towards voice tech powered by conversational AI for elevating their CX strategies?
Yeah, so if you look at the overall spectrum of where communication happens between an enterprise and their customers, 70 to 75%, and that number essentially varies from an industry and a vertical perspective. But broadly, 70 to 75% of conversations today between enterprises and their consumers still happens on voice, right? Today, whenever we are faced with an issue, whenever we want to get a instant resolution, whenever we want to file a claim, we essentially just pick up our phone and dial up the contact center number, right? The toll-free numbers and others. And that essentially is the big driver in automating those voice-based conversations. What we feel is voice conversations are very native. They're very interpersonal, and they're hassle-free, right? Like you don't have to type anywhere. You don't have to remember any of your details. Everything happens on the go, and that's the beauty of having those voice conversations. The problem with today's setup is that enterprises have not designed to scale it up linearly, right? Let's say if I'm a brand who has hundreds of millions of consumers, for me to be able to provide that consistent experience, 24/7 availability, right? That has a very streamlined support. I have to essentially scale my customer support operations linearly to the number of customers which I have, which is not possible in this day and age. And that's where we see a lot of enterprises are moving from contact center human resolution-based support to a more automated support where the voice bots themselves are able to understand what users are saying. And through our backend automation, they essentially are able to fulfill those conversations end to end. So imagine you're calling for to your insurance company for filing a claim. That claim process essentially happens end to end on a voice call with a automated agent or automated AI rather than it being transferred to a human agent. And that essentially is becoming the biggest driver for most enterprises to adapt it. And from a value perspective, while obviously we see a drop in the operational cost for enterprises with more conversations being handled through automation, the other aspect of that, which is a derivative of providing this experience, is your high customer satisfaction. So more and more customers are getting satisfied because one, they're getting the service at the time they want. They're getting in the language which they prefer to use, and they're getting on the channel which they have reached out to you on, right? So all that leads to a much higher satisfaction.
Definitely. And clearly, as you've articulated, Rashid, there's a clear advantage for organizations adding the voice technology to their tech stack for contact centers and for conversational AI. Now, what are the considerations that a business should take into account when it comes to leveraging dynamic AI agents for CX or for contact customer connect?
Yeah, I think it all starts with the customer at the center of the scenario. And when we say customer, we essentially mean the end consumer who is going to be calling in or who's trying to be chatting or who's trying to be reaching out to the brand, right? One of the first things which we do with organizations is to figure out which are the key touch points a consumer for our enterprise has, which we should be looking at. We analyze a lot of the chat volumes, the voice volumes, email volumes, and basis that we essentially are able to provide a roadmap, so to say, for automation. So it starts with the customer. The second piece, which essentially comes in, is in finding the right set of tools, solutions, and even processes, right? So what we essentially have to realize is with automation coming in, automation is an abstraction on top of repeatable processes, right? So if we have processes which are very unstructured, if we have processes which are not documented, then having that end automation becomes much more difficult for organizations. And that's the second piece which enterprises have to consider when they're investing in automation. Be it on CX side, be it on EX side, is essentially identifying the most scalable processes and then just automating them with the right set of tools and solution. And finally, the third pillar which we essentially see for consideration is on the source of data and the integrations which essentially have to be done to provide this end-to-end automation. So today, when we look at any enterprise, it's fairly complex from a enterprise application which exists there, the kind of connectivity and the kind of data, right? Most of these AI-based systems, there's a heavy reliant on existing data sources. So having first-party data which is available to the enterprises, which they can leverage to build out great models, I think that becomes like a key deciding factor in how successful a project is going to be. So just to reiterate, three things to focus on. One is the whole customer centricity, starting with the customer. Second is investing in the right tools, solutions, and processes, making it more scalable. And finally, having more of the first-party data available to be able to train these platforms in a much better way.
Definitely. And as you rightly pointed out, Rashid, that business process reengineering is quite important in getting the successful outcome and maximizing the ROI from your implementation. Now, in terms of, there's so much out there for CX heads and contact centers heads to look at when it comes to evaluation of technology. What sets Yellow.ai apart from the other players in the global marketplace? And can you mention some of the notable work that you've done with your clients that should make Yellow.ai a preferred partner for a lot of these organizations?
Yeah, so first of all, a lot of thanks to our partners, customers, and consumers who use a platform to get that value and drive automation. What sets us apart, I think it's a combination of both product as well as the way we go to market currently. From a product standpoint, what we essentially have done is we have embedded ourselves deep into the enterprise. We have tried to understand all the nuances of what makes a conversational platform succeed versus not. So a lot of focus essentially goes on in terms of being able to work with the first party data, which I talked about. But apart from that, we also do bring in a lot of knowledge on our own platform to drive a lot of these scalable and repeatable processes. And that essentially comes from Yellow being one of the most one of the most dominantly used platforms out there today. When we look from a consumption standpoint, we do more than 2 billion conversations every quarter on our platform across more than 1,200 plus customers. So that is the kind of experience, and that's the kind of view which we essentially have. When you talk to our sales team, when you talk to the product team, or when you use our product, you can see those sort of insights coming in much more easily. I think that's one of the biggest things which you bring onto the table is a huge experience in this domain. Second is, we have adopted, while we are a company born out of India, and a lot of our focus had been on the Asia Pacific. Over the course of time, we essentially have realized, we are a global company. We say our headquarters is in the cloud, with our nodes available across each country. So for the biggest countries and the biggest regions, we have made significant investments in terms of having support there, in terms of having customer success, to make sure. While we live in a remote first world today, we essentially want to be as close to our customers, right? So if you pick any of the big markets, be it UK, be it US, be it Middle East, you essentially will have a representative who can be there at your office within 30 minutes to an hour to help you out, to help figure out, what works for you, what doesn't work for you, right? And thirdly, I think innovation has been a big trend for us from the time we started. We have focused a lot on what is something new which we're bringing to our customers, which will help drive more value to them. And instead of bringing in features which is just incremental in terms of what they have, we have really thought about moonshots, right? And just quite recently, we have launched a proprietary engine for natural language processing called Dynamic NLP, and we essentially have taken out the complete the problem of bringing first party data and training the models. Today, we essentially have trained a very big model across different industries, which comes with most of the pre-built intents. So you essentially have, with zero training, you can go live with more than 95% efficacy on our platform today, which is a huge shift in how enterprises use and consume our platform. And finally, I think since the time we have existed, we've seen great mentions across Gartner, Forrester, IDC, and some of the leading analyst brands, which have constantly ranked Yellow as one of the top platforms out there. Now, coming back to customer success stories, which is the second part of your question, Ayusha, there's a couple of things a couple of customers would love to talk about. The first one essentially is a waste management company based out of the US. They reached out to us back in 2020 when COVID hit, and their agents could not come into work because of the restrictions placed by the local government, and they essentially quickly needed a solution wherein it could handle calls, it can schedule appointments for trash pickups in Midwest, right? And within 2 weeks, we deployed our AI assistant there on their website as well as on their telephony systems, and we essentially were able to give them an ROI, first off, 24/7 availability, so people would call in at any point of time and request a trash pickup. Second is, from a value perspective, the company derived more than $250,000 in savings just by doing a lot of those automation. And more importantly, which hits home for us, is when the CIO mentioned that it gave a lot of time and freedom to the agents to do more meaningful work, right? It gave them time to the to the agents to focus on their families and do other things while they were in the pandemic, right? That essentially just hit us, hit home, and then we felt, yeah, what we were doing is actually making a lot of impact, right? And the second use case which I wanted to talk about was from one of the biggest public private partnership companies in India in the gas oil and gas segment, and they essentially launched their AI assistant called Urja, which essentially means energy in Hindi, to more than 100 million people across India. And the whole use case was largely in terms of how can they automate a lot of the queries coming in when it comes to gas cylinders, being able to book them, being able to track, when users are going to get their gas cylinders, and just with the bot deployment across multilingual. So the bot essentially is able to converse in English, Hindi, Tamil, and so many Indian languages. We essentially saw an uplift of more than $10 million of sale happening to the bot on a weekly basis. And we essentially saw the highest customer satisfaction scores on the platform, upwards of 4.5 out of 5 there, right? I think these are the two stories which are very close to us, which showed massive impact for large organizations. And we have many such stories to talk about to all the enterprises, as we kind of engage and help replicate them, replicate for them as well.
Sounds amazing, and a big congratulations to the team at Yellow.ai, because it seems like you're really being able to not only understand the client's needs and obviously customize the package according to them, but also at the same time enabling them to achieve the ROI that they're looking for, which is actually one of the key drivers of any investment as we are seeing in today's date. Now, finally, in closing off, Rashid, what are the key trends that you have observed with conversational AI, and how do you see these evolve in 2023?
Yes, I think the different trends which we are tracking right now. I think the first one is definitely going to be a heavy focus on voice across both inbound as well as outbound based use cases across organizations. Today, we are at a level where we're able to get, especially on the outbound side, we're essentially able to get the closure rates of a human through our AI solutions. We've deployed this in the banking, we've deployed this in insurance, and have been able to see massive success there. So there's a huge focus on voice, and particularly when it comes to voice, one of the key trends we're seeing is how do we make those conversations more human-like, right? How do we reduce the latency? How do we bring in the right accents and the right dialects so people can associate with the AI agent which they're talking to. The second key trend, which we're seeing this more and more in this digitally connected world, is the whole concept of omni-channel and multimodal experiences, and not just being omni-channel. So we just don't propagate a business to become omni-channel, but having the ability to transfer that context from channel to channel to provide a very seamless and a single experience, right? So imagine you raise a ticket with the business on email, and you essentially call them up to find the status. That complete loop of having a seamless experience where you don't have to tell, hey, I'm calling for this, but you get it more proactively, the ticket status, right? So how do we transfer context from one channel to another? I think that's becoming a huge trend in this day and age. The third trend which we typically see is with immense focus on efficiency across organizations in the current economic situation. There's a huge push towards automation, right? And one of the ways which automation can become democratized, is essentially this power of building more automated assistants, bringing in more automation, goes to the actual business folks around, right? If certain thing gets limited at the IT in the enterprise, that essentially will get bottlenecked, right? Because there's just one IT org and they have multiple business units who are trying to get their time. So we essentially have focused a lot on bringing no-code solutions where even a business user can be empowered to be able to build out their conversational assistant, and aid towards driving efficiency for the organization, right? And finally, I think one of the biggest bets which we're taking this year is on conversational commerce. We feel the technology is ripened to the channels where commerce is going to happen has ripened. And third is people have also have started taking the idea seriously that commerce on conversation is possible. With one of the biggest launches which we saw in India with GeoMart launching on WhatsApp, I think that is the key pivotal moment, and that is something which we are replicating across customers in different regions, right? Apart from that, we see certain channels like Google Business Messaging, we see Facebook Messenger and Instagram becoming key channels for enterprise to engage for more shopping-based use cases, more commerce-based use cases. So I think that's another area which we're betting big on. So I think these four things is where we see the key trends in conversational AI right now.
Amazing, and looks like exciting times ahead for both the conversational AI industry sector, but also for Yellow AI. We wish you all the very best, Rashid, and we look forward to seeing the team at the CX Live show in Birmingham, and hopefully, ensuring that the stealth of that conversation keeps increasing for all the organizations that you partner with.
Thank you, Ayusha, for this wonderful conversation. And yeah, we will be there at the CX Live in person. So please do come by and say hi, and we would love to work with the teams over there. And yeah, bring some of this ROI, bring some of this efficiency for your organizations.
Definitely. Thank you very much. You have a wonderful day ahead. Bye for now.